So here's a video taken outside of the Britannia Hotel in London, 1:30 in the morning, and this is our government shipping in illegal migrant invaders into our country to be put in a 4-star hotel at the taxpayers' expense.
The time is 1:33, the 1st of August. Would anybody like to speak to me?
You know, I find in life sometimes you can go along doing the same thing and going over Groundhog Day, Groundhog Day, Groundhog Day, and just the continual push of life. And you go along and you might go to work and there's somebody annoys you in work and they keep doing it and they keep doing it and doing it and doing it. And eventually you reach a point where you have to just vent it off. And this is my version of that. I watched this video on X today and it really annoyed me. It really bugged me. The essence of why it bugs me is this. These people have arrived illegally into Britain. They arrive and our government immediately, their solution, their best plan, the best thing the government can do is ship these people in the middle of the night into a hotel, a 4-star hotel in the middle of London, 1:30 in the morning under cover of darkness, and just put them there. That's our government's plan. That's the type of government we're dealing with. This is their solution. Their solution is put people in 4-star hotels. These incompetent morons. There's no other way to dress this up. These people are incompetent. They have to be incompetent. This is not a plan. This is not a plan. How can you bring people in and just put them in a 4-star hotel? This cannot be right. Each of those people getting off that bus costs the British taxpayer £45,000 in year one. Year one. 45 grand. And so every time you see a picture of one of these migrants there coming in on a boat or whatever it is, £45,000. And really it's reaching the stage now where, you know, these asylum issues and the arguments that you get into. You know, I was discussing this with a friend and, you know, one of the things that I did say was in the West often we are obsessed is the way to put it, with explaining ourselves. We're obsessed with it. We feel as if we have this internal dialogue and we feel we need to be intellectual enough to be able to present these really clever, complex arguments where we start talking about the nature of migration and, you know, asylum claims and what's correct and what's international law and what's maritime law and what's the Royal Navy and what's the previous government and all of this stuff dressed up, all of it. And you know what? It comes down to something as simple as instinct. Instinct tells you that there is something deeply wrong with the governance of this country if they are going to accept 900 people in one day, 900 people. And to put that into context, when you're looking at a day and it says 900 migrants came over in one day, that's a number, and the numbers get thrown around quite often. At 45,000, that's £40 million in year one. of British taxpayers' money that has to be spent. £40 million for the first year in one day of migrant crossings where there was 900. This is not sustainable. It's just not going to work. Not to mention the increase in sexual crime, the increase in crime, the stuff that goes on, the demographic shift. You know, it reaches a stage sometimes, I think, when you have to just scratch your head and say, exactly what is the British government doing here? What is the purpose of what they're doing? This isn't normal. This isn't normal behaviour from a fully functioning state. This isn't something that a healthy country does. A healthy country does not import hundreds of thousands of people. In the last year, the figures I saw was over 700,000 people into the country. And how do we pay for this? We're almost bankrupt. The protests are reaching a different level now, and the anger, the sheer anger against this government, and they are not saying anything at all. Nothing from the Home Secretary. Nothing from Keir Starmer. They're allowing this situation to keep going, and they're not doing anything about it. Nothing is happening. And here is a small clip of a gentleman who sums up, I think, the mood of the nation on this topic.
No, I don't think it's fair. As a pensioner, I've worked since I was 15 years of age. I'm now in my 70s. And, you know, I don't really feel that my taxes should be going to people in 5-star hotels or 4-star hotels. If it was people who, you know, were our veterans or disabled veterans or people on hard times, it's not so bad. You know, everyone wants to chip in. But when it's, you know, when it's people coming over for a free ride in some ways, I object.
Calling people far right, not engaging with anything that people are saying, mocking reform in Parliament, mocking the views of the only people standing up and telling it how it is, how a huge number of people in this country are feeling. And this government is avoiding the issue. This is not leadership. This is allowing a weed to grow, a cancer to grow in our society, and the government are fermenting it. If I had to guess, and I was looking at it as a casual observer, I would have to say, hand on heart, that the government is creating a powder keg. They are creating this by their inability to confront this issue head on, by their inability to just look at it and say, you know what, I'm going to have to do something about this because this is really getting a bit out of hand, isn't it? We can't really have people protesting in towns and cities all over the place. We can't really be housing illegal migrants at a cost of 45 grand a year for the first year they're here in 4-star hotels, can we? Can we keep doing that? What about every migrant from this point? What do we do with those people? Put them in 4-star hotels. They've obviously ran out of 3-star hotels. I mean, this is the most bizarre situation, and I rack my brains every time I watch this to try and understand why the government is creating a powder keg. And every time, the rational part of my brain comes up blank. Thanks very much for your time.
We have a king that is far more interested in appeasing Islam than he is in helping the British people. He is anti-British people. He has contempt. The minute they arrive, get a free phone, free PlayStation, 3 meals a day, a dentist and a doctor on site, well, of course they're going to come. The British people can't have that. They come from war-torn countries. Why do they leave their wives and children there and come here for the benefits? And I am terrified for the girls here because they're so naive and they don't understand what they'll go out in their little clothes and don't realize that we've got 1,100 people here that are ready to